Pirki Avot, the ethics, the sayings, the chapters of the fathers. Who are the fathers? These are the great leaders of the Jewish people. Huh? What's called in the other religions disparagingly the what are they called, the Pharisees, huh? Pharisees. Even if you look at an English dictionary, see that a pharisaical thing is a person who's like a, what is it, a dishonest person, pharisaical. That stems from that boundless hatred that that religion is based on, especially for the rabbis. And here are who the rabbis really are. These are the Tanaim, the Amoraim, the great holy rabbis that had the ability to raise the dead. Most of them, in any case. The ones that are mentioned here do. So here we go. Ready? So we just learned Pirki Avot. We learned about things that were number 10. Huh? 10 utterances God created the world. There were 10 generations from Abraham, from Adam to Abraham, and 10 generations from Adam to Noah, and 10 generations from Noah to Abraham. And there were 10 miracles in the Holy Temple. Huh? 10 miracles, the 10 Jewish people tested God 10 times, and God gave 10 tests to Abraham, etc. Okay, those are number 10s. Now we have sevens. Yesterday we talked about there's 7 things in a stupid person, 7 things in a wise person. Another 7. 7, and that's the next 2 Mishnahs of these 2 sevens. 7, 1 minute. What are we doing? Okay, yeah. 7 types of disaster come to the world. The word pronios also means like, you say, punishments. Come to the world because of 7 sins that the Jews do. And here we're going to list 5 of them, and the next Mishnah lists the next 2. And it's sort of like measure for measure. We'll see. If some of the Jewish people, the farmers, or the people that buy from the farmers, they take tithe. They take the 10th of their produce. 10th of the produce. They have to give it to the Kohen. So Miksasan Eino Maisrim, the Levites, Miksasan Eino Maisrim, some of them do give their tithe, and some of them don't give the tithe. I'm sorry, they give it to the Levi, right? They give 1/10 to the Levi, and some of them don't. So Rav shall B'tzorot bo. There is hunger, how do you say, partial hunger comes. Let's see what this means here. B'tzoret, that there'll be a little bit of rain. It'll rain in some places and only a little bit. So therefore, there'll be a little bit of food, but not much. Good. If some people take tithes and some people don't. If everybody decides not to take tithes, so then there's total hunger that comes into the world. Mahuma. And also Mahuma and Betzoret comes, like famine. What's this Mahuma? That soldiers come. Let's see it say Mahuma. The guys as soldiers, armies come. So people, even if they do have produce, but they can't gather it up. They can't go there. Everybody's busy fighting for their lives or protecting themselves or running away. So there's all this produce and the enemy takes it. That's if everybody decides not to give tithes. That's number 2. If everybody decides that they're not going to take challah. Challah is the portion that you take from baked goods, baked grains. Then there's hunger of kalaya. Oh, hunger, which is like total destruction. Let's see. Hashamayim kabarzel v'oretz kanachosha. Then it is a hunger which comes from heaven. No rain whatsoever. It says that the heavens are like iron, that iron never sweats. And the earth, it does sweat, so it rots all the ground, we had that last week on the curses. That was curse number 3. Catastrophe number 3. Catastrophe number 4. Dever bola olam. Dever means like disease here. Dever. Dever comes to the world. If there's like a plague, oh, that's what it is. A plague. This what they tried to convince you that the corona was, which was a big bluff. But they tried to say it's a bit like the Black Plague and these terrible things. Hu ichor mishpat. What does it come from? Inui adin. Here, let's go back over here. Dever comes. What did I do? No, here. I'm sorry. Dever comes to the world because of if people do sins that are punishable by capital punishment, but they weren't given to the courts, or on the fruits of the 7th year, that you don't take the fruits from the 7th year. Here. Shalo asu bayan din Torah. People did sins that was punishable by death, and they escaped the judgment, or they were afraid to judge them, however. Also, the 7 fruits of the 7th year. We said also, I'm sorry, fruits of the 7th year. That people take the fruits of the 7th. The fruits of the 7th year are supposed to be left ownerless. Anyone who wants to can come and take them, or you give them over to the court, to a judicial court, and they allocate them little by little to people. But if people don't conduct themselves with the holiness of the Shvis, then that terrible punishment comes of dever, of a disease, plagues, cherev bololam, war comes to the world, al inu yadin val ivus adin. If there are courts that they delay the judgment, or they twist judgment, take bribes, whatever, or they say laws in the Torah not according to the law. Ivus adin, that's inu adin, means that they know where the judgment is going, and they say, come back tomorrow, come back tomorrow. They don't want to say what the final law is. Or ivus adin, that they find the innocent guilty and the guilty innocent. And al amorim b'Torah shelo kalacha, if they say what's forbidden is permissible and what's permissible is forbidden. So, now this especially is for the Jewish people, but it also would apply to the non-Jews. If they have a country that has courts that are crooked and that they don't judge properly, they judge in a crooked way, so that brings, I say, retribution on that country. Tragedy occurs to that country. Let's see, we get the next one here. There we go. Here's number 6 and number 7. Wild beasts attack in the world when people make false oaths, and also al chilul Hashem. False oaths mean they take the name of God in vain, and chilul Hashem means people do sins and they encourage other people to do sins. Let's see what it says here. Here we go. We're going to the Bar Tanura. He makes oaths unnecessarily, and he does sins in public, or he does sins in such a way that other people learn from his bad things. What that he does. Encourages others. He becomes a bad example. Gullus, exile, comes to the world on people serving idols, on Giloy Arias, forbidden sexual crimes, what do you call it? Decadence. Al Shfichas Damim, bloodshed, And al shmitas ha'oretz, the Jewish people refuse to stop working in the seventh year. The seventh year, you're supposed to not work on the land, but some people will say, hey, I don't want to weaken my land. I don't want to weaken my profits. So therefore, they plow and they plow and they plant on this on the seventh year. There's 4 times in the year when there is plague, when there are plagues. 4 times, not in the year, 4 times in the course of 7-year cycles that plagues come to the world. The 4th year, the 7th year, Moshe Shvius, right after the 7th year, going into the next 7-year cycle, and also immediately after the holiday of Sukkot every year. Why? On the 3rd year, there are plagues in the world because people don't give Meiser Oni. The law is that every year, every person who deals with produce from the ground, so he has to give 3 different types of gifts. He has to give what's called truma to the Kohen. He has to give Meiser Rishon to the Levite, and he has to take Meiser Sheni to himself. He takes it up to Jerusalem and he eats it up in Jerusalem. That's every year of the 7th year. But on the 3rd year, and on the 6th year, 3rd year and the 6th year, they don't give Meiser Sheni. You don't take it up to Jerusalem. You give food to the poor. You take that food, instead of bringing it up to Jerusalem, you give it to the poor. So it says, if you don't go up, give the food to the poor, then the year after that, you'll see that there's an increase in pestilence or plagues or whatever is diseases or that they didn't give on the 3rd year. Also, if they don't give on the 6th year, you see that in the 7th year, there's also plagues. Why are there plagues and what is it? The pestilences and all these terrible things, diseases, especially on after the 7th year, because people don't properly observe the Shemitah year. They misuse the fruits. The fruits are supposed to be permissible to all, and these people decide, no, I'm going to keep it to myself and make money off it like every other year. Why should I lose money? And also, right after the holiday of Sukkot, because of what? Gezel Matanot Aniyim, that you steal the gifts of the poor people. What does this give? Let's see the last one. What is it talking about here? After this, in the holiday of Sukkot, that's the holiday of the harvest. In the harvest, the farmers are supposed to leave these things: leket, shicha, peros, peya, peret olos. They're supposed to leave behind a certain the extras or whatever that weren't gathered from the harvest or from the grapes. You're supposed to leave them behind so that the poor people can come and collect them. These are these 5 different things: leket, shikha, and peya. The leket and shikha, this is in grains, and peya also, and peret, all of these are in grapes. Things. So it's, if you do not leave them for the poor people, so then therefore is the punishment on the year, every year after Sukkot, because Sukkot is the time of the gathering of this all together. And if you don't leave these portions, then therefore these punishments come in those times. In other words, measure for measure, God punishes the Jewish people for their lack of service of God. Hope to see you tomorrow, 8:15 in Hasidic class.